unification of action is an essential ingredient in the progress of any organization. Take a look at the United States, for example. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, we inspire. And we are working on a series based upon the book Leadership, Secrets of Attila the Hun by Wess Roberts. Big shout out to the doctor. And we're going over little pieces that he's given to us, little bits and pieces. And then what we're doing is we're applying them to real life scenarios so that you can see how practical they are now and forever. So let's get right back into the ball game. The fury of internal battles, cunning the tribes. Among our tribes, we have suffered ills brought on by chieftains and Huns who prefer their own ambitions to those of the nation. These are clearly those who, openly or secretly, pledge support even to the enemy solely for personal gain. There are those among our own tribes who indulge in pointless bickering and other forms of rebellion against leaders. Their interests are served at the cost of loyalty to the tribe or nation. Now, if we're to become and remain the powerful nation that it lies within our potential to be, we must make radical changes in our ways of independence as tribes, as chieftains, or as Huns who fail to make a contribution toward the unification that I, Attila, am bound by destiny to achieve. Let it be known that I will no longer tolerate cunning of any nature among our Huns, chieftains, or tribes that undermines the unification of our nation at any level or on any issue. He who attempts such cunning and becomes known to me or to any chieftain exercising authority over him will hastily conform to our values or will be subjected to the most extreme reprimand. Beware of the treacherous Hun who pledges loyalty in public, then spreads discontent in private. Make every effort to identify and remove these ignoble characters, be they chieftains or be they warriors. All right, in any organization, you're going to have some differences of opinion. But if it's the same person over and over again, never stopping, that is a cancer that you must eradicate. You've got to get rid of it. All right, because what will happen is just like a cancer, it may take a while, but somewhere down the road it will grow, and that will not work to your benefit. Be wise and anticipate the Brutus of your camp. Unfailing and ill-deserved loyalty to Brutus was fatally paid for by Caesar. Et tu, Brute, the Ides of March, okay? Be aware of those around you. Have faith, have trust, but keep your eye on the ball. Never expect your Huns to always be compatible, but expect your differences to be resolvable without the spread of discontent to other Huns. Hey, you know what? In a private setting, everybody has different personas. On a personal level, sometimes you use your playground voice and sometimes you use your inside voice. Isn't that what they told you when you were a kid? Hey, you're not out on the playground anymore. Okay? Use your inside voice. Well, there's circumstances like that as well. There was some, on a basketball team, which is not a very large number. We have 13, 14, 15 kids on the team. Guess what? There were some kids that didn't get along with other kids. And who knew the why and because, but the point is, once we get out on the court, our objective is bigger than any personality differences that we may have, and don't you forget it. And if you can't keep it under control, you're out. So keep it under control. Never allow your Huns too many idle moments. These give rise to the beginnings of discontent. When people can sit around and yakety yak and talk What is it that they talk about? Once again, remember, we're divided up 95%, 5%. What does the 95% crowd like to do? They like to complain, whine, and whiz and moan. And what happens is, when one person does that, that encourages another person, encourages another person. Keep your eye on the ball, folks. Make sure that people have an objective that they're shooting for. Don't give them too much idle time, because when you do, that's time for people to whine and complain, and that is not a positive. Does that make some sense? Never cast blame for failure upon the guiltless. All right, we live and die as a team, but when you're pointing out individual places, nuances that need adjustment, you also want to sprinkle the negative with some positives. Hey, we didn't, Fred missed that shot. He had a good clean look at the basket, but boy, did Joe ever set a nice pick for him, huh? Hey, you're going to miss. That's going to happen. It's a make or miss league. But we need those screens that, just like Joe said, Joe, good job. Let's give Joe a hand. Okay? So when you're, casting blame and trying to fix things, make sure you sprinkle some good stuff in there, and don't blame the people that are doing the job correctly. Never allow your hunts to gain fame for the accomplished deeds of others. All right? We live and die as a team. Sometimes there are people on the team that are more all-stars than the rank and file are, and they're going to get more recognition. It's good to be, I was part of the team, but always remember that the guy that put the ball in the hole at the end of the game is the one that took the shot, that took the chance, because if he didn't make it, then he would be the GOAT. So, once again, be a team player, but, focus on your accomplishments in a way that is proportional. Does that make sense? Be proportional. That's a good word. Never threaten the security or esteem of another Hun unless you're prepared to deal with the consequences. Okay? Before you threaten somebody and say, all right, you're going to be out of here, make sure you have a replacement for that person, because your big picture, can be like a house of cards, can fall down on you. Make plans for it. Have a game plan. Always have a plan B of what you're going to do. If this guy leaves, what am I going to do? So keep an eye. Don't make threats unless you are prepared to keep them. Be approachable. Listen to both good and bad news from your Huns. Otherwise, you'll provide reason for murmurings. Have an open door. As a matter of fact, one of the things I like to say, as a leader, you want to be a river and not a reservoir. Okay, a reservoir stays in one place. If you get water from the reservoir, the person has to travel to the reservoir. The river, on the other hand, goes throughout the countryside. Be somebody that's going throughout the countryside where you're in a position to compliment people, and you should be doing that, on a ratio of at least 5 or 6 to 1, where you're saying good things about something. Hey, you did a super job there, nice job, good work, all right, versus the amount of times that you're trying to make corrections. Because when you do that, then you're making corrections all the time. People saying, they avoid you. On the other hand, if you're handing out compliments, guess what? They're not avoiding you. And then when you do make a correction, and you say it correctly, you say, like, boy, you did a super job here. Let's take a look over here. Now, because of the excellent performance you did here, we can expect this result from this project, can we not? Let me see if I can't help you out so that you can get to that higher level, and then proceed to give the correction that you want to give. Be principled, not inflexible. All right, it's good to have principles. It's good to stick to principles, but sometimes you got to step outside the box. One of Thomas Edison's famous sayings was, hey, we don't have any rules around here. We're trying to accomplish something. Okay? Yeah, there's rules, all right? But sometimes you got to step out. Now, you don't want to, you always got to remember that the spirit of the law is more important than the letter of the law, what it is you're trying to accomplish. As an example, if you have a child that's been injured very badly and you put the child in your car and you got to go to the hospital, you're not going to follow the speed limit. You're going to beat the horn and say, get out of my way, get out of my way, I got to get to the hospital, got to get to the hospital. Okay? The spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. Now, you don't want to go out and commit murder, all right? But always remember, sometimes you're going to have to stretch and bend the rules just a little bit. Be principled, but not inflexible. Be compatible to the policies of our nation and your tribe. Otherwise, you'll seek devious ways to accomplish your own ambitions. Thus, you will ultimately lose, no matter how bold or tenacious your efforts. Ends justify the means. That's what we're talking about here. Be compatible with the policies of the nation, of the tribe that you belong to, of the organization that you belong to, because if you don't, then you become more and more devious along those lines, and you tend to step too far away from the box, and if you do that, people will not accept your methods and the ends will not justify the means. Reward hunts of character and integrity, they are rare. Simple enough. If you find someone that's a superstar, one of the things that as a mentor I look for in people that become my mentees is you get a feeling, you see results, you see an attitude. All right? When you see people, of character like that have the wherewithal that you say to yourself, I see myself in that person, or I see that person having tremendous potential. Those are the people that you look for. On the other hand, you want to be a person like that. You don't want to be somebody that's kissing butt, but you want to be someone that can be counted upon, that produces when the money's on the table. And in a sales mode, that was something that I was able to successfully do. And I constantly had people that were in a mentor mode seeking me out to become one of their mentees because they saw potential in me. All right, and it was a matter of pride, and it was a matter of I'm not giving up. If I have to make one more call and make one more sale, I'm going to keep doing that. I will not be denied. That's what mentors look for, and having a strong mentor is one of the best things, Eli, that you can ever have. The spirit of unity must be a cardinal principle in the ways and attitudes of all Huns. Once divided, we are easily made subject to foreign nations. Hey, we got to stick together. In a time of war, everybody's got to sacrifice. We were in that kind of position with this pandemic. You want to do this, you want to do that, but you can't do it. Why? Because for the benefit of the whole, we have to have a unified action. Otherwise, we're going to be made subject to foreign nations. In this case, the foreign nation was the virus itself. So, keep in mind, these little parables from Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun from Attila. Okay, it's a fun way that he presents it. And also keep in mind that one of the things that unifies people is while you're learning and while you're disciplining and while you're building morale, if you're having fun at the same time, that is a tremendously effective bonding tool to use. So make it fun. And always remember, hey, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.